Well, welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California, a little bit bright and early today. What do we have in the background? It is not an ocean of blue. Yes, this is the NASDAQ on the hourly chart, and we're right above the 618, still hovering above there. Stopping out the last few people that want to buy the bear market rally. Again, just my opinion, not financial advice, but I want to jump into, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, some of the underlying market dynamics like the fear and greed index, open interest funding rates. We'll take a look at gold, silver, and some of the economic data that did come out today. Economic data, balance of trade came out bullish for the dollar, lower than expected balance of trade. That just came out. So let's see the reaction from the dollar. Yeah, bit of a inverted head and shoulders there. Call it double shoulder. Yep. And as long as we don't lose the shoulder over here, and I would say this pivot right here on the dollar, then we can expect another push higher, but it does look like, maybe a short-term double top on that's a 3-hour time frame, 4-hour time frame. So have we lost the previous shoulder? But we haven't lost this one yet. So again, I think that is the pivot in the sand right now for the dollar on the shorter term time frames. Longer term time frames, though, I'm still going to remain with a bit of a bullish bias as volatility has reset and now momentum is pointing to the downside, getting out of the critical zone. To me, that, basically, the dollar has to pick itself up on the 4-hour time frame. Otherwise, it's probably going to bleed into the daily, and momentum remains to the downside below 104.41. So dollar needs to pick itself up by its bootstraps coming in tomorrow, I'd say in the next day. What other economic data that I want to talk about? Bear with me just a second. So again, Thursday is the jobless claims and PMI, and Friday is non-farm payrolls and unemployment. So nothing that drastic. I think the big meetings are going to be the 13th and the 14th next week. That's PMI and CP, the CPI report, and the Fed rate hike decision. Let's just check in on that really quick. What does the Fed rate hike tool say? 78% chance of a pause, 21.8. We're going to rate hike another 25 basis points. All right. I think that's enough for the underlying market dynamics. Open interest took a shave off at 8.16 billion, and funding rates you're still paying to go long consistently there. So nothing consequential there. And the fear and greed index, people are still neutral, still undecided about the market with the Coinbase lawsuits, what to do, what to expect. I think Bitcoin's going to just keep trudging along and doing what it's been doing for the last 14 years. Price action is more important. The low liquidity environment is definitely more important. And I would suspect a pretty greater move to occur here pretty soon. I'd say probably within the end of the week, at least by next week. And I'm talking about probably about a 20% move here. But starting it off the 4-hour range, 27,378 to the upside and 26,358 to the downside. Any kind of a 4-hour closure above or below there likely gets us the next greater move. And to the upside, I'm just going to pull this out. To the upside, I would be targeting a move up to the 1618 at 28,618, and to the downside, this is really front running the signal here. You really want to see a break below here and any kind of a 4-hour below that previous wick. And I'd be looking for a move down to this $24,000 level. And how far is that from where we're currently sitting today? That is down 10%. So that's not going to happen in a day. We had a 5% move to the downside, 5% move back to the upside. And now it's lower, higher, not. And what you will see, kind of given the bearish bias here on the 4-hour time frame, there's what's called hidden bearish divergence. And what is that? So just cleaning up my screen a little bit. Hidden bearish divergence is when the price is making lower highs. So what you can see here, let's clean up the graph a little bit. You got this high coming in right here. Let's take this off. Boom. So you got lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Yep, this is actually a lower high on a closing basis and a lower high and a lower high. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 lower highs here. And then coming back from this pivot, which is the same high right here, you're going to see in the RSI, so getting rid of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lower highs. 7 lower highs. I'm sorry, high highs in RSI, lower highs in price. And that likely begets continuation. For me, this is confirmed on this candle pretty much. So I would be looking at a run at the bottom side of the range. Where does invalidation happen? Well, you could front run it by, saying a 4-hour closure back above the wick high here at 27,386. Invalidates that move, which is back to the bottom side of the range. It's once we start to break this area at 25,670, then I would be looking for a bit of a leg lower. And for the measure move on this massive flying pennant, whatever you want to call it. I saw a good analogy today. Somebody was talking about how these shapes can essentially change over time. And, some draw it out like this, something like that. Remember, 3 touches to a trend line makes a trend. 3 touches makes a trend. So falling channel, falling pizza, whatever you want to call it. But as we start to break this thing's going to break out to the upside or to the downside. Technically, more likely to break out to the upside. I'm not sure why. But currently, we're still in a nice little downtrend, making lower lows and lower highs. So I would let the trend be your friend till the end of the trend. And checking in on Ethereum really quick. So Bitcoin, we talked about it, 4-hour range, break above or below, likely gets us that next greater move. And if this is going to break out, I'd want to see something like this. You pop above the trend line, right? Come in, make the higher low, and then we take the greater leg up. And I think the measure move does take you up to about 31,000 on this. And once we get above these pivots here at 29.5, that's when we can really start to get bullish again. And so with all the kind of bearish thing lining up on the board here, coming into the 13th and the 14th, if the Fed decides to hike rates and surprises the market, I think, I think the conclusion from there. Lastly, I want to follow up on, so what are the other currencies doing right now? On the daily time frame, looks like we hit a pretty big bounce off the British pound here on the weekly, put in a confirmed lower high, looks probably to get trapped out there. Sorry, that is a higher high and a higher low, but it's not confirmed yet on the weekly time frame. So it could be a potential trend reversal on the British pound. Euro is got the higher high and the higher low in, so it could be a potential trend reversal on the euro. Japanese yen, not the same case for them, and they're still looking to put in lower highs. One more lower high, and we see a nice trend continuation, probably down to that white line there. And the CNY, what we've been saying, is kind of the harbinger of death and despair. And this one can't hit our first target. Second target down is a bit deeper. Why is the Chinese yuan dumping so hard? I don't know. But if you correlate that with the NASDAQ, for some reason, and the S&P 500, when the CNY starts to dump, typically the stock market follows. I don't know what the correlation is. The VIX is coming down to the bottom side of our green box of peace and prosperity, or death and despair. And in this case, it's peace and prosperity below this box, right? Breaking below this is going to lead to further continuation to the upside. I wouldn't be surprised, if we head all the way down here. And look at this massive consolidation. I don't do a lot of VIX reading, but that's the volatility index. And when it goes down, typically stocks go up. Following up on gold, I don't know what to make out of gold. After we hit this measure move down to the downside, what would I be looking for? We got daily volatility expansion to the upside right now. Well, it's on the floor. We'll cross down below 1948 on the day. We're at 1958 right now. 2-day is crossing up. 3-day is still down. So, you know, could get down to the bottom side of this box. I wouldn't mind a higher low somewhere around that 618 there off after a nice rally that's coming in at 1900. And overall, I'd say, you know, as long as we're above this pivot at 1779 for gold this year, then it's onwards and upwards from here. And, you know, you could probably front run it with, you know, a closer below 1829, you know, taking out this previous low on the 3-day. What about the weekly? What is the weekly? 1809. Do I see anything else I wanted to go over today? I think that is it. Bitcoin dominance. Almost a bullish engulfing candle there for the 5-day. What's the daily? Looking strong here, popping back up as there's a flight out of altcoins. Looks like a lot of altcoins are. After this little pump yesterday, you know, the rally gets faded. There's probably a lot of stops for render hanging around 214 there. Could give you a pretty good impetus to come down quite a bit. Catch some of the, you know, liquidity down here. I'm sure people were over leveraged long going into that Apple event. Ethereum is just holding the line in the sand, just barely. Remember, we've been talking about this area 1759. As long as we're above there, sideways and up, below there, and probably coming down to this trend line, you know, all the way down here for Ethereum at about 1,500 bucks. ETH Bitcoin putting a bearish candle yesterday. You know, almost a bearish engulfing, not quite. And with that kind of a read, I mean, this one is looking bullish to be fair, looking bullish on this one. And in general, as long as we're above this pivot right here, I'm generally bullish on ETH Bitcoin. So ETH to outperform Bitcoin, it looks like in the shorter term. At least from a daily perspective. The weekly has been a massive consolidation. I do think Bitcoin dominance is going to go up. And I should say, I think if we take the downside route, Bitcoin will outperform Ethereum in a sense. It will hold its value better than Ethereum in the short term. Longer term, you know, ETH has some great promises and great opportunities, but if Bitcoin takes a leg down, you'd expect Bitcoin dominance to go up and for, you know, ETH to go down more to the downside. Total market cap, DXY, finishing up kind of our dollar milkshake theory. I don't know if that's even the correct saying, but overall, when the dollar is bullish, typically risk assets go down, and vice versa. When the dollar is bearish and starts coming down, it gives risk assets the opportunity to breathe and, you know, essentially catch their breath and do a little pump rally to the upside. How did the monthly close on NASDAQ? Which, to be fair, did not close above the 618 for the monthly. Just checking this out really quick before I get to my meeting here this morning. I hope, guys, do me a favor, smash the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed some of the content today. You know, call it a self-altruistic altruism. Why do I do these? I like to put my thoughts out on paper and kind of follow my strategy out loud, so to speak. So thank you guys for helping me out. And other than that, was that a bullish engulfing on the monthly? No, bearish engulfing. No, it was not. And where are we getting stopped out on a monthly perspective? So we did not quite get up to the 382. So still some, you know, nice room to bounce here. Question is, you know, are we up first or down first? There's going to be a lot of volatility, low liquidity, and already got a backfill on yesterday's bearish engulfing or bullish engulfing candle. So if it is going to continue on through, I do suspect we pick up here pretty soon. If we're going to head to the downside, probably going to pick up to the downside pretty soon. Thanks for tuning in today. Have yourself a blessed and highly favored day. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.